Okay, right, Ricky, thank you very much for agreeing to be interviewed for our Rock and Lord's first ever video interview.
No way.
First
I'm
ever.
the first, wow.
Yeah, I did a
honoured.
telephone interview with Joe Elliott a few weeks ago.
Very good.
This is the first video interview, so thank you very much for agreeing to it.
You're welcome.
Right, BSR recently finished a 2-month tour of the US and Japan. How did it go over there?
It went very well. Obviously it was our first foray into the States under the new name.
Yeah.
So we were playing some pretty small venues, but the reaction was fantastic. It was a pretty intense tour. I think it was 41 shows in 8 weeks, 21 states, and obviously went to Japan in the middle of it as well. And it was kind of crazy.
Right in the middle, wasn't
it? We played in Los Angeles, came off stage, went to the airport, flew to Tokyo, did 3 shows, flew back on the Friday, and we're back on stage in Syracuse in New York State on a Saturday night. Sounds glamorous, but it was pretty tiring.
Yeah,
But it was great. The reaction to the album. The album's it did pretty well out there on its own before we even played some shows, and we sold a healthy amount. And it's great to see people come out knowing the stuff and not just expecting the Lizzy stuff, which obviously they get, but obviously they were quite genned up on the BSR stuff as well, which was great.
How is it over there with Thin Lizzy, the reputation that they've got over here?
Yeah.
Have they got the same?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the band is really revered over there, and they've got this sort of iconic sort of cult status,
Cool.
I mean, Scott and the boys toured a lot there back in the day. They opened up for Queen, for Rush, and for Journey back in the 70s. And the Boys Are Back in Time was a big hit for them over there. But that was really it, so people don't really know, unless you're a hardcore fan, know too much beyond that song.
Yeah.
So it's always been, I think it's a bit of a craw in Scott's mind that, the band never really got the success they deserved over there. They always had a lot of bad luck. I mean, Phil got ill, Gary leaving the band twice, Robbo getting his hand split open the day before they're due to start a major tour. So luck conspired against them. I think it's nice for Scott still to be over there and play there and maybe try and put it right with Black Star Riders.
Good. So that's the intention. To
Absolutely.
Be as big as possible over there as well.
Yeah, the intention is we all really believe in the band and we're very proud of the record that we made, and we want to try and get out there and play as many people as we can.
And you're going back over next April on the Monsters of Rock cruise,
Yeah, we've got that cruise, and I think there's a few more tour dates planned in that as well. So.
Right, fantastic.
Yeah.
Right, tonight will be Black Star Riders' first ever gig with new bassist Robbie Crane.
Yep.
How are you looking forward to that, and how is he looking forward to that? Are you all excited about it?
Yeah, Robbie's a phenomenal guy. He just came in. He came out on the road with us the last week of the US run just to hang out and Mark O'Brien graciously and playing sound checks and get the vibe, and he just fits right in. He's one of us, same sense of humour, he's one of the gang, smart guy, real easy guy to get along with, and a hell of a bass player. And very excited to be part of Black Star Riders, and it's almost been seamless. It's just been perfect. He's come in, knows the stuff inside out, and again, it's a completely different character than Marco, but is a big character, a big personality as Marco is. So we've obviously lost Marco, but we've gained Robbie. So it's going to be
another
really
American in the band as well.
Yeah, well, what can you do? I'm outnumbered. 4-1.
You are. You're back in the studio this autumn to record follow-up to All Hell Breaks Loose. Do you have the full album written? And will we be hearing any of the new songs on this tour?
We have, it's pretty much together. I mean, it's like a jigsaw. We have all the pieces.
Yeah.
And we need to start putting them together, which is what we're doing over the next 6 weeks before we start. Some songs are totally finished, other bits are, still in the chorus or what have you. But I'm very excited with the stuff that we've written. I think it's very strong, and I can't wait to get started to record it. Playing them live, maybe we might start bringing one or two in as the tour progresses.
So not tonight then?
Well, tonight's the first show with Robbie, and we've got a great set, but we want to sort of stick with that for the first couple of shows, just to Robbie finds his feet. I don't think it's fair on Robbie to sort of go, play this and throw new songs in, and then start playing stuff maybe that we haven't played that much either. I think we want to make it as easy as we can for Robbie. And that's not to say that the quality of tonight's set is going to suffer anyway, because it won't.
Yeah, and the new album, you've got Joe Elliott producing it?
We haven't got Joe Elliott producing it. We did have Joe Elliott producing it, but he's not doing it anymore. Joe's unfortunately had to to pull out of doing the album, just due to the fact that Leopard have gone insane. They're out with Kiss, and there's loads of stuff going on. So he unfortunately had to pull out, which both of us were very sorry about. But it's just
when I was talking to him the other week, name dropping again, talking to Joel the other week, he was really excited about producing it. So
it's a real shame because it would have been great with Joe and because he's such a friend and such a champion of the band, and but he's got to look after his boys, and Def Leppard's obviously his priority, and I would have done the same thing if it had been Black Star Riders. So it's just the way it worked out, but we have somebody else lined up who we're going to announce very soon.
Right, cool.
Will
it take longer than 12 days to record this time?
Will it take longer than 12 days because we'll want it to take longer than 12 days to record. We're planning on having the luxury of being able to take our time this time and not too much. I mean, I like to think we get the whole thing recorded in less than a month.
Right.
Which is being pretty standard.
Although even though it took 12 days, Kevin Shirley did
Kevin's great. That's how Kevin works, and that's his thing, and he's all about capturing the band in live in its entirety, and you have to have your stuff together. I mean, we certainly didn't. We went in, we demoed the songs thoroughly, so we knew what we were doing when we were in the studio, which gave us the advantage of being able to play the song straight through without having to go, what's your part, what am I singing here? We knew him, and that's what Kevin likes. That's how it works. He's all about capturing that vibe and that energy, and that's why it was done so quickly. This time around, we just want to try a few different things. We want to try maybe a couple of different sounds and there's some different kind of feels on the songs, and we just decided we want to take our time a little bit this time.
Right, cool. On to your solo work. You're about to release not one but two solo albums through Pledge. Is Joe still going to be involved in those?
Yes, Joe's already produced the acoustic album for me, which I've done, and that's produced by him. The electric one, unfortunately, was a victim of the Kiss tour as well. So I've already recorded that. I recorded with a guy called Tim Boland, who produced my last solo album, Belfast Confetti. So I've just finished recording that with him in LA. Right, I just finished that the day we left. Actually, come here was the last day of the studio. So they're both pretty much done. I've got a couple of special guests. I've got Ginger. Playing on and singing on one of the songs that him and I wrote together, and I've got Andy Cairns going to do one of the songs as well, and G Burns with Stiff Little Fingers. So once you get those guys on there, that's it pretty much done,
Right, fantastic. How's the Pledge campaign going?
It's been really good.
You've reached the target, haven't you?
We reached the target quite a while ago. We reached the target after 3 weeks, which was fantastic. It's been great. It's just I've been blown away by the loyalty of the people out there and the support. It's terrific. So I would for me it's obviously I talked to Ginger a lot about it before I went into it and got a lot of great advice from him.
He's the king of
absolutely. He blew it out of the water. And so that was going into it. He helped me a lot with just what the do's and don'ts, as it were. And I found it a really good experience.
It's a fantastic concept, Pledge. It's saved a lot of artists.
Well, somebody like myself and Ginger, who have a very loyal and a very strong following, it's great, because it cuts out the middleman, it cuts out the record company bullshit, and it just lets you do real direct one-on-one with the people that are buying your stuff and coming to your shows, and you can gauge from them what they want. They can tell you, well, we like this, we don't like that. So it's great, plus you get to make the record companies aren't really paying advances anymore. So you get a decent amount of money from the people that support you to go in and make the record that you want, and you're not cutting corners going, I've only got 4 days to make this record, and the quality doesn't suffer, So I've been able to go in and do these two albums and make them to the quality that they've allowed me, without watching the clock going,
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about the titles of the two albums.
Well, so these two albums were a concept. There's a really, a great buddy of mine over in Belfast called Sam Robinson, who's a friend of mine. We're both from the same area of Belfast, and grew up together, supported the same football club and all that. And I was over Christmas about 5 years ago, and I was going to see a Glentoran Linfield game, which is a big game over in Northern Ireland. I think it snowed off, so we're sitting in the pub and we're just chatting, and Sam said to me, brought up, so I write, And usually when people say that to you, I'll be honest, it's usually shit. People go, well, I'm a bit of a writer too, because everybody thinks you can write. I'm sorry, I can't fly a plane. I would never just dream of getting behind and going, I could do this as well. It's like, you just can't. Doesn't mean you should have a go at it, but you know what I mean. But he showed me these words, and I was sort of going, oh man, this guy's one of my buddies here. What am I going to say to him? And they blew me away. Yeah. I just went, this is brilliant. And he says, yeah, I've been doing this for a while. I went, Sam, this is amazing. I said, we need to do something here. You know, this is great. So we sat down and we wrote pretty much both the albums all about our lives and similarities, both the same age of growing up in Belfast, through the troubles and people that we know and experiences that we know, and based the whole 2 albums on that concept. Obviously encompassing the whole kind of worldly view as well, and so it's not just, you know, if you weren't from Northern Ireland, you'd still get something out of the albums, you still know what they're about.
Yeah.
So over the last 5 years, we've written, you know, the songs that have, you know, it was just going to be one album, and then we ended up writing, you know, 22, 23 songs, and I said, look, let's do 2 albums here. And the title actually, when Patsy Cline was crazy and Guy Mitchell sang the blues, is that song's basically about, you know, when I was little, and then Sam's father was the same. You know, at the end of the week, these guys were all, you know, working class guys, and they'd get their paycheck, and you know, Saturday they'd go down and put money on the horses, and the whiskey'd come out, and Saturday night guys would come round to play cards, and the music would come out, and it was stuff like Johnny Cash, Patsy Cline, you know, Guy Mitchell, Sinatra, all that kind of stuff, and you know, we'd be running, we'd be there, you know, looking at all these guys when you're like 8 or 9 years old, and we'd be pouring the drinks or putting the records on, you know, and that's just a memory of that time, and Sam wrote some fantastic lyrics, and that ended up being the song. And then the acoustic album, Hearts on Trees, is pretty interesting as well. There's an island in Lough Neagh, which is the big loch in the middle of Northern Ireland, you can see it. And during the Second World War, I don't know if people know this, that Belfast was hit really, really bad in 1941 by the Luftwaffe. Yeah. So over 2,000 people killed in attacks there. But there was a huge American military bases in Northern Ireland, up in Londonderry, Derry. There was a big naval base up there, but also a lot of the American troops were stationed there before they were sent off to Europe to the front lines. One of the bases was on the banks of Lough Neagh, and the soldiers used to row out to this island. And you can still go there now, and all the messages that they carved in the trees before they were shipped out the front are still in the trees to their sweethearts and all this kind of stuff. And it's really moving when you go there and see it. So you know, Sam and I came up with the Hearts on Trees concept for that, and that's where the song's about, basically, you know.
Fantastic. Do you have any musical influences on your solo work?
You know, it's more. I think it's more leaning towards the electric stuff, the straightforward kind of, I don't want to use the word punk, but streamlined vibe. I'm certainly leaning that way. It's the songs are quite simplistic, but very melodic. So I don't know. I wasn't really listening to anything when I was writing the music. The acoustic stuff. Again, you know, I kind of just write what I feel. I don't really, you know. I've obviously getting older now. I've listened to so much stuff that's obviously had an effect on me. Like anything from Johnny Cash to, you know, the Sex Pistols and everything in between to Motorhead to whatever, you know. And I think it's all in there. Yeah. You know.
Going back to like the most melodic punk band is probably the Ramones.
Sure.
I mean, they were called punk, but it was more pop than punk.
Absolutely.
And the last one is now gone from last week.
I know, very sad. You know, it's we're just all getting old, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I think our generation we're the first generation where our rock and roll heroes are all going to start dying of old age, because that's never happened before. You know, when the 50s and 60s, it was like, you know, if you're 30, you're done. And then suddenly all these guys get past 30, and now it's like, well, there's no age limit in rock and roll anymore. There used to be.
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
Like, you know, if you're over 30, you should be playing. But everybody's old now, and that's why people are still playing into their 60s and their 70s.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I mean, I think the fact that still playing is amazing. But it's sad because we're losing a lot of our rock and roll heroes just through old age, just through time. Father Time's taking them, and that's it. You know.
But at least we've still got the music.
The music never dies.
Yeah. Going back to Black Star Riders, you've only been around 2 years as Black Star Riders, and in that short space of time, you must be one of the hardest working bands in the world, because you just haven't stopped.
Right.
Are you going to be taking a break after this album, or is it just you're going to keep
going?
No,
you know, you gotta, you know, as you say, you gotta make hay while the sun shines, and we're in a very creative period with everybody in the band, and we really enjoy it. That's a key. We really like each other's company. We like playing live. We like writing. And like I just said, life is short and time is short. So what's the point in, at our age going, we'll take a year off because, you know, time's precious, and if you're in a creative state of mind and you're enjoying what you're doing, you should be doing it as much as possible, and I think that's what we feel when we will do the album. We'll do the press that will come with the new record, and then we'll get out and we'll tour the hell out of it next year, and then maybe we'll take a break.
Yeah, before the third album.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of talk from changing the name from Thin Lizzy to Black Star. There's a heck of a lot of talk, but I mean, I think it's just been a resounding success.
Thank you. Well, it has. People vote with their feet, you know, and you know, the Lizzy thing was a success as well. The fact that the band, you know, we did over 120 shows a year for 3 years, toured all over the world, sold out loads of places. That's a success. I mean, people can knock it and say what they want to say, but people vote with their feet. If people didn't like it, they wouldn't come to the shows. We'd have done one tour and that been it. With Black Star Riders, we have an album that's sold really well. It's charted in, you know, 5 or 6 countries, and you know, here we are making the second album, and in this climate and the way the industry is with the changes that it's going through, and nobody really knows what's coming next. That's a great situation to be in, and we've worked very hard for it. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, go, well, you know, we just got lucky. We didn't. We worked our fucking asses off for it, and put the hours in to ensure that this band, when you see the band play live, it's a killer show, and make sure we make killer music so people that are partnering with their hard-earned money are going, I'm getting value for money here. Yeah. I'm not getting ripped off, and that's very important to us.
I saw BSR, I've seen you a couple of times before, but I saw you at Download last year, and you were one of the bands that I really wanted to see on the day. And even though the heavens opened when you were on,
right, Whiskey in the Jar, remember? Yeah.
Everybody got drenched.
You know, and that's funny you say that, because I think we're twice the band now that we were that day, and that was like our third gig. And we were absolutely still finding our way. We were still, the songs on the album were still very new to us, and we hadn't really settled into the groove of playing them. And we didn't think that was a particularly good gig for us. The reaction was obviously amazing, which was great. But we, you know, you compare that to how the band is now, it's like night and day, I think, you know. But that was cool.
Right, couple more questions before we finish. Nothing to do with the band or solo or anything. What's the best and worst things that have ever happened to you on stage? If you can think of anything.
You know, the best is, there's been so many. I've been so blessed in that way. You know, obviously going all the way back to the Almighty, you know, playing Donington for the first time was such a thrill, because that's just everything you dream about when you're a kid and inspired. Then the Lizzy stuff, just standing on stage and seeing that Thin Lizzy solo logo with Brian and Scott and Darren and singing those songs is still the most surreal thing that's ever happened to me. And that'll take some beating. You know, that's just mad. It's just crazy stuff like that. First time I opened up for Leopard solo at the Mandalay Bay Casino in Vegas in front of 12,000 people. Me on my own acoustic guitar, and just walking out there onto that big stage in the arena, and just going, shit, what have I got myself into? You know what I mean? Just sort of, I guess, just moments like that. I think the worst thing, being lucky, there hasn't really been too many things like that. I mean, I think just back in the Almighty days, some of the kind of stage diving and getting into fights with security at the venue and stuff like that were, you know, although at the time when you're young and you've got no fear, they were kind of good.
When you look back now.
Yeah, you could have probably done without that. But, you know, I think the worst thing for me, and it's only happened maybe once or twice, is with the Lizzy stuff. I mean, I've never used an auto cue in my life, and I never will. I think your Springsteen is different. If you're playing 3 or 4 hour shows, I get it. You do need something like that. It's a hell of a long time. But with Lizzy, I thought I need to know the stuff inside out and backwards. I'm not going to stand up there and have cheat sheets and auto cue, because I just think it's disrespectful to not putting the work in. But like everybody else, you forget lyrics. I forget my own lyrics. And I think we were singing Whiskey in the Jar, and I got the verses the wrong way around, and I had the guy shot and killed before he even left the house. You know, it tells the stories, you know what I mean? And like, you're singing it, it's such a classic, and I've been singing that song since I was 10 years old. I mean, I've noticed, and I'm going, what the fuck am I doing? And you can see people singing along going, he's fucking screwing this up. And it's Lizzy, it's hallowed ground. It's like, how dare you get Phil's words wrong, you know? And of course I'm going, this will be on YouTube already, you know, and that's just going, I remember my heart, my pit in my stomach just going, oh man, what have I done? I screwed up. And I was really, really upset, you know. And Scott's like, Phil, I used to forget words all the time. Everybody does, you know. But you still doesn't make you feel any better. I just didn't want to screw that up. So stuff like that. I mean,
that can be your worst one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right, and one last question. What do you think you'd be doing right now if you hadn't got that phone call from Scott?
I don't know. That is a really good question, and who knows? I'll probably just still be out.
Would you got the Almighty back together
doing solo
again?
stuff. I doubt it. You know, We've had a few opportunities over the last few years for the Almighty to reform and to do some stuff, and some of us are very up for it, and some of us aren't, and that's the problem. To reform the band is an ongoing concern, to make records and tour again. And speaking for me personally, my heart wouldn't be in it to do that.
Right.
I just don't feel it. It's not there anymore. To play a couple of shows, yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
If everybody would, I would certainly love to do a couple of one-offs. I would really enjoy that. But as going back and writing and being in that headspace, it's just not there. I've just changed. I'm not that guy anymore. If I did it, it's gone. It's moved on. It might come back. I don't know, but. I don't know. I think I just cracked on working on the solo stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was
Which is what you're still doing.
Yeah, and I was busy with that. You know, obviously the Lizzy thing was huge. It raised the profile and I guess put me back in the forefront of a lot of stuff again as well, which was amazing, and I'm eternally thankful for. But I was just beavering away. I mean, I was still playing 100 odd shows a year doing the solo stuff, and I guess that's what I would have stuck on.
Do you remember how you felt when you got that phone call?
Yeah, I mean,
question, of course.
I had the initial warning that Scott was going to call me and offer it to me, but I didn't think he would. I just thought, they ain't gonna call me. They're going to get somebody else, you know. And they just aren't. And then when he did, you know, because I've known Scott for so long, it was all the general chit chat. You know,
yeah,
how's your kids? What's the weather like? You know, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, just ask me the question. So I know, and then he did. And it was like, I think he even got the words out. I was like, yes! And then we talked about how we wanted to do it and portray it. And I put the phone down, and you know, first thing I did was obviously phone my wife and just said, it looks like I'm going to be the new singer in Thin Lizzy. And you know, and then she came home and we just talked about it, and it was very euphoric, but then it was very shit. What am I taking on here? Because you know, Phil's my hero.
Yeah.
How am I going to do this? How am I going to make this acceptable? How am I going to do it justice? You know, and all that suddenly came in, and it was terrifying. It was terrifying, and then it was like, okay, well, right, let's think about this. Let's work out how. And I did. I went about it very methodically about how I wanted Thin Lizzy to be perceived with me singing, how I wanted to respect, obviously, Phil and the legacy, and try and do that as best I can, basically. But yeah, I mean, I just knew. I mean, a buddy of mine said a really, really cool thing to me right before we went on stage for the first show in Aberdeen. He went, no matter what happens tonight, he says, your life's never going to be the same again tomorrow. He says, if it's amazing or you're shit, your life's never going to be the same again tomorrow. And that was true. Right. It was true. What he said was true. I mean, it changed like that overnight.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we were all right, so it was okay, you know.
Good stuff. Well, without sounding sycophantic in any way, you've done an amazing job, and I couldn't imagine anybody else doing such as good a job as you have done. Because
I really appreciate that.
You really are perfect for the job.
Man. Thank you.
So thank you, Ricky.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, buddy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Cheers.